I think one of the easiest traps we can fall into is settling for a life that we don't genuinely enjoy. Not because our life is terrible, but because it's comfortable. We get a job that pays the bills but doesn't truly fulfill us. We might get into a relationship with someone who's nice, but deep down we know that they're not the person we want to spend the rest of our lives with. We scroll social media instead of working on the goals we've been thinking about for months. And eventually, we just drift through life. Everything's okay, nothing's really wrong, so there's never enough pain to force us to change. But underneath all of that comfort, there's this burning feeling that we're capable of more. The problem is, we only get one life, and every year we spend settling for something we don't want is another year that we're never going to get back, and another year that we delay what we really want from life. Now, I know this might sound cliche, but this year I've coached several guys in their 60s, and I've heard the almost exact same story again and again. They knew when they were younger, there were things that they wanted to do, businesses they wanted to start, relationships they should have left earlier, risks they wanted to take, but their life was too comfortable, so they kept putting it off, and eventually, one day turned into decades. By the way, I'm not taking shots at anyone, and I'm not immune to this. I have a great relationship, I've done okay in business, and overall I'm pretty happy with my life. But if I'm being completely honest, I'm not even close to where I wanted to be by 30. When I was 24, I had over $500,000 in investments, and I was living in my dream Ocean View apartment. At the time, I thought I would have easily been a multi-millionaire by now, but I'm not. And when I look back over the last 5 years, I know why. I got comfortable. I spent too much money. I stopped working as hard as I should have. I wasted time on things that didn't matter. And without even noticing it, I started settling for a life that was good enough instead of continuing to build the life that I actually wanted to live. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I really don't want you to settle for anything less than what you truly deserve either. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how we can actually stop settling. We'll discuss how to recognize where you've gotten too comfortable, how to get clear on the goals that actually matter to you, and most importantly, how to start moving towards them before another 5 to 10 years disappear. So let's get into it. First off, let's look at how to stop settling, because it sounds so simple, but complacency has a way of sneaking up on us. For example, I can look back on a relationship I was in during my early 20s, and I really liked her and I was super attracted to her, but deep down, I knew that I was never going to marry her, and I think she knew that too. But we stayed together for almost 3 years because we were both comfortable, and breaking up meant that we had to go through temporary pain and heartbreak, and it meant being single again, meeting new people, and stepping into the unknown. And staying together was easier than dealing with any of that, so that's what we did. We just stayed together. And it wasn't until I got into the relationship that I'm in now that I realized what I'd been missing out on all that time. True love, connection, support, and having someone who I genuinely want to build a life with. All because I wasn't willing to go through a period of discomfort to find something better. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons we settle. We choose long-term dissatisfaction to avoid short-term discomfort. We stay in the job because quitting is scary. We stay in the wrong relationship because breaking up hurts. We put off starting the business because we're afraid of what people will think. And every time the comfortable option feels easier in the moment. But there's always a major cost to that comfort. Because when we choose what's comfortable over what we actually want, we're trading the possibility of a better life for the certainty of the one that we already know doesn't satisfy us. And if you're anything like me, you probably already know where you're settling right now. So we don't need to spend 10 minutes figuring that out. Instead, let's look at 3 things that we can do to stop settling and start building a life that genuinely fulfills us. The first step is to get clear on your North Star. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos, but if you're new here, your North Star is the life you want to live 3 to 5 years from now. This is so important because if you don't know what you actually want, it's incredibly easy to accept whatever life gives you. You take the job because it's there. You stay in the relationship because it's comfortable. You spend your nights watching Netflix because there's nothing pulling you towards something better. So take some time and get really clear on what you want your life to look like 3 to 5 years from now. What do you want to be doing for work? How much money do you want to make? What kind of relationship do you want? Where do you want to live? What do you want your day-to-day life to look like? You don't need to have every tiny detail figured out. You just need a direction that's exciting enough to pull you out of the life you're currently settling for. Then once you know where you're going, the second step is to surround yourself with people who are trying to go somewhere similar. And honestly, I think this is one of the most important things we can do. When I was younger, I had friends who were genuinely good people and there was nothing wrong with them, but they didn't want the same things I wanted. So without intentionally trying to, we'd constantly distract each other from our goals. And it wasn't until I started making friends with people who wanted similar things that I realized how much easier progress becomes when the people around you are moving in the same direction. For example, I had a friend who I'd train with in the gym every day. There were obviously days where I couldn't be bothered training, but because I knew he was going to be there, I showed up. Even now, one of my best friends has a YouTube channel with around 25k subs. We talk about YouTube pretty much every day, we share ideas, talk about what's working, help each other with videos, and keep each other accountable. And naturally, this makes me take YouTube more seriously. That's why the people around you matter so much. It's very difficult to settle when your closest friends are constantly working towards something better for themselves. So make sure you surround yourself with people who want similar things to you, because the people around you will either make it easier to settle or make it harder. And if you're serious about building a better life, you want as many people as possible pulling you in the right direction. And finally, once you know where you're going and you've got the right people around you, you need to commit to taking one step towards your North Star every single day. In a previous video, I compared achieving a big goal to walking from Las Vegas to Manhattan. If you actually tried to do that, most days would feel pretty pointless because you would walk for 8 hours, look at the map and realize that you've barely made any progress. And that's exactly what pursuing a big goal feels like. You work on a business for a day and you're still not making money. You upload a YouTube video and barely anyone watches it. You go to the gym and look the exact same a week later. This is why most people get discouraged and eventually stop. But if you're walking in the right direction every single day, eventually you're going to cover an insane amount of distance. That's why I commit to 60 minutes of focused action towards my North Star every single day. And I mean every day. Weekends, holidays, birthdays, it doesn't matter. For 60 minutes, I always do something that moves me closer to the life I actually want to live. And I literally set a timer. I've got one running right now. While I'm recording this video, at the time of recording, I've got 39 minutes and 24 seconds left. I like doing this because there's nothing to negotiate. I don't wake up and ask myself whether I'm motivated. I don't decide whether today is a good day to work on my goals. I've already made that decision. Every day for 60 minutes, I move forward. And once those 60 minutes are done, if I want to relax for the rest of the day, I can. And you'd be surprised if you start doing this, how much progress you'll actually make when you genuinely focus on something for an hour every single day. So that's how you stop settling. Figure out where you want to go, surround yourself with people going in the same direction, and commit to moving forward every single day. If you do that consistently, you're going to make it very difficult to settle for a life you don't actually want. And look, I'm saying this to myself as much as I'm saying it to you. Like I said at the start of this video, I got comfortable. I look back on the last 5 years and I know there are things I could have done differently. I could have worked harder. I could have been more disciplined. I could have made better decisions. But I can't change any of that now. What I can control is what I do from this point forward. And the same thing is true for you. Maybe you've wasted the last year. Maybe you've wasted 5 years. Maybe you're in a job and you should have left years ago. A relationship you know isn't right for you. Or you've been putting off something you know you need to do. That's already happened and there's nothing you can do about it. So don't waste another 5 years beating yourself up over it. Just get clear on where you want to go, start moving towards it today, and see where your life ends up. Because the next 5 years are going to pass whether you take action or not. So you may as well use this time to build a life you actually want to live. Anyway, that's it for this one. If you enjoy these videos and want my personal advice on achieving your goals, feel free to check out my community in the description. Either way, thanks for watching and I'll chat to you soon. Peace.